We are live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play alongside Dave McCann. My name is Jason Shepard. We've moved over to the comfy seats. We're relaxing a little bit because we have a very special guest in Studio B. He is the host of the Locked On Big 12 podcast. What is this? Is this maybe your second time on campus, second or third time on campus?
I've been here like 9 times.
It's been a long time. Yeah, Drake Toll joining us here in Studio B. Welcome.
Gosh, it's crazy that I have the hot seat here. Like, you guys get to hold hands over there, and I just have to sit all the. I feel like I'm interrogation room.
It is. It's like an interrogation.
You're the guest.
I came in wearing my airport outfit, my shorts. I'm so underdressed, and now I got the hot seat.
That's right. He didn't wear socks, so.
Oh, I have socks. They're just low profile.
The ballerina socks, which is worse than not wearing them, arguably.
Okay, so here's my first question to you. For those that follow you on social media, they may have already seen some of this. So, Drake, Cosmo, jet skis, Utah Lake. Explain.
I don't know how much of this I can divulge, right? This is top secret. Like, this is lock and key. But we are, yesterday, with the Explore Utah Valley folks who had me out, like, hey, come see what it's like to do a game day at BYU if you're a fan. You know, tailgating, going to Sundance, visiting local spots and ziplining or fly fishing. And yesterday, we were going to go sail on Utah Lake. And they're like, this kind of may fall through. So what about jet skis? Like, you know what? Fine, jet skis. And then the kind folks over at Explore Utah Valley were like, what if jet skis with Cosmo? Come to find out that we know of in the history of Cosmo's existence, which is that the anthropomorphic cougar has been around for a long time, he's never jet skied. That we can find, never jet skied. So this was just a moment in history.
They don't like getting wet.
No, and we, I thought, wow, we're asking a lot of Cosmo, right?
So did you get to see the Cosmo with the abs?
He definitely had the abs, and then he had the built-in abs into his life jacket as well. And so when they first told me, this was about 1 p.m. yesterday, they got the all clear, and we're on the lake at 4. And when they first told me you're jet skiing with Cosmo today, it was just full body chills. This was
You're the only person that can say this
ever in the history of the world that I've jet skied with Cosmo.
We're glad you survived.
They had to tell him to slow down. They were like, dude, this is a lot of jet skiing, Cosmo. You're really ripping it right now. And
when he's got fire, everything that's Cosmo, just hang on.
It was incredible. So we crossed paths a few times and did a few cool tricks, and I was insanely impressed with Cosmo's jet ski ability for his first time.
Good.
Nice.
Good. Hey, last year, you were one of the ones early high on BYU.
Yeah.
And they go 11-2, finish ranked 13th in the country. Now we swing back around for the encore, or will it be an encore? What do you think of BYU coming in?
So I feel very strongly about BYU and their ability to win. Keanu Tanavasa coming in from the transfer portal, a couple of transfer portal additions that mix in with senior-laden guys who know BYU, understand BYU. We mentioned that a lot with the Cougars and even Kalani Sitake, their ability to retain these 4th, 5th-year guys. A Chase Roberts that comes back as a massive leader in the locker room. And I thought, like Ben Bywater, that situation last year, where you're like, how devastating midseason, you're not going to have that kind of leadership out there consistently. And this year it feels like even with that situation, BYU goes and wins. Yeah. That's the next man up mentality. And so for BYU this season, the reason I stay high on them, despite going through now having a quarterback battle and now seeing 3 guys who'll duke it out, is over the last decade, what Kalani Sitake has instilled, the consistency, the ability to take those older guys and have them bring up a McKay Hillstead or a Bear Bachmeyer or Trayson. That is what's going to be the difference for BYU, I think, this year, is the leadership in that locker room that's been brought in, the leadership that's been there, and Kalani Sitake being at the front of it. And then, obviously, you can't say BYU without saying Jay Hill in that defense.
Yeah.
The defense, it doesn't matter who plays what offensively for BYU if the defense does what they did last season in games like Kansas State or Colorado. You see that again in 12 games for BYU, they're in a very good spot.
You see him as a contender?
I do. Yeah. I still do. And I don't know, BYU would have to lose 2 or 3 foundational guys defensively to not be a contender. And I look at Utah across the way. I go 40 minutes away and say, that offensive line for Utah, you start to pick out things in the Big 12 and say, man, really good O-line at Utah, hard not to contend with a good O-line. Yeah. Really good defense at BYU, hard not to contend with a great defense. Really good quarterback at Arizona State or at Baylor, really hard not to contend when that's in your in-house. And that's why I think BYU is going to be so good this year, is the defense can carry them, and that offense still has plenty of weapons. I mentioned Chase Roberts. Yeah. He's going to be a guy, L.J. Martin. They're going to be guys, you give them the football on 20, 30, 40, 50% of your downs. And if you do, good things will happen.
Yeah, that's why I think that regardless of how the quarterback situation plays out going into the amount of weapons around the quarterback is insanely elite. So we've got Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 joining us. Let's talk a little bit about the conference in general.
Yeah.
And one of the big storylines last year was what Arizona State did, picked last, and then you win the conference. Who do you think could be this year's Arizona State? Now, we won't have a preseason poll, obviously.
Correct.
No,
right? Of course not. Why would we ever have?
No,
that?
we don't want to look bad after the fact. But who do you think has the potential to make that type of leap?
Call me crazy, and I am. But you asked me who can go from 16 to 1, and you start to mention the Arizonas, the West Virginias, the UCFs who are picked to be down there. I think we could look up in 3 years and say, Willie Fritz might be the best coach in this conference.
Going with Houston.
He has been a winner at every stop, even this couple years at Georgia Southern, goes to Tulane, a really struggling Tulane program, and turns them into a Cotton Bowl champion against Lincoln Riley and USC. Now Willie Fritz is in the Big 12, and he's got access at Houston, just signed a 5-star quarterback, access at Houston, some of the best recruiting in the country. Hey, if you want to play in front of grandma every weekend and you're from just down the road in Spring, Texas, come do it. Play at Houston. And NIL is getting better there. Willie Fritz being a good old ball coach, I think he's still got it. Now, he's one of the older coaches in the Big 12. Probably got 5 to 7 years left in this conference if things go the kind of the natural cycle of a coach. And I think in those 5 to 7 years, he has the opportunity to build something very special at Houston. Connor Wegman, if he's as good as Willie Fritz said he is at Big 12 Media Days, which is the job of the head coach to say that about your quarterback. But if that's the case, Houston could be a 9-3 team this season. We all look around and go, huh. It was just that Drake was the only guy preseason saying that. I think Houston could be that.
I think you will be the only guy, and we have this recorded.
You remember last year, too. Yeah. Houston gave BYU fits in that last game. Their defense was elite. They were missing the offensive pieces.
They beat Utah.
Yeah, they beat Utah in Houston.
They beat TCU.
Yes.
They were very surprising to a lot of people. I think Houston could be that team that takes the next step up and finishes 8-4, 9-3.
Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, says 2 teams are going to get into this college football playoff. You think 2 can get in, or will it be another 1?
2 is brutal. 2 is brutal in this conference. And
you got to be in the top. You have 2 in the top 12.
Right. A big piece of why it's so brutal is we see a college football playoff committee and metrics that do favor conferences like the SEC and the Big 10. For the Big 12 this season, you're going to have not a perfect storm, but a very advantageous storm of your Big 12 championship game features a couple of 11-1 teams. Your Big 12 championship game features 12-0 versus 11-1, or 10-2 versus 12-0, and that 10-2 team gets the win. It's going to take 11 or 12 wins. I think we learned that last season in the regular season. BYU taught us that. It's going to take 11 or 12 wins in the regular season to punch your ticket from the Big 12 to the college football playoff. And that's really tough to ask a team to do when we saw some of our most elite teams in this conference, like an Arizona State, fail to hit that metric in the regular season. BYU at 10-2 failed to hit that 11 or 12 win metric. That's what it's going to have to be. And I just, in a league where Kansas can go on the road and beat BYU, sorry to bring it up, right? In a league where that can happen any given week because of the depth of the league, it's hard. It's hard to think that 2 are guaranteed.
Yeah. Who are the 2 teams that you see in Arlington?
Right now, I have BYU and Texas Tech. And the reason being, those are the 2 teams that I think poured the biggest investment in the offseason to retention, and then I'll put it this way: retention, addition by subtraction in a few areas, and positive attrition. So those 2 kind of go hand in hand with you lost a few players that ultimately you either won't miss in the locker room or you can replace with someone else who's behind them and hungry. And at Texas Tech, their portal class, #1 in the country for a lot of different outlets, that portal class coming in is going to create competition. At BYU, now in the quarterback room, you have competition. And what competition breeds is a better football team. You don't have to have a transfer that walks in day 1 and starts. You need a transfer that walks in day 1, looks at the 3rd-year guy, and says, I'm going to make you better. It's between one of us. I used the Baylor example. DeQuan Finn last year was their big heavy hitter in NIL, the MAC Player of the Year. Comes in and gets the job over Sawyer Robertson, who's been there for a couple of seasons. And if I'm Sawyer Robertson, I mean, I'm devastated. I'm defeated. He keeps working. By week 4, he's the starter, leads Baylor to an 8-win year. You know, that's the kind of stuff the Big 12, BYU, Texas Tech, will see at the very top of these contenders. I think a Texas Tech-BYU matchup in Arlington would be incredible.
Well, and we're going to get a preview of that because BYU heads to Lubbock this year.
Yeah, that's my favorite part is trying to, when I first sat down, I was like, you know, these are the 2 that I really think of, and then they play each other. But again, that's where if you're Brett Yormark, your scenario is 12-0, 11-1. Yeah. 12-0, 10-2.
So Kansas State and Iowa State start practice next week. They play early over in Ireland.
Yeah.
And a league game on the 23rd. So what's more important in that game? For those two teams to show the rest of the country that will all be watching that the Big 12 is this big and you need to watch us all year long? Or is it just the winner gets a boost and the loser, you know, like what Florida State, they never recovered from losing that game last year?
What's so odd is I think the most important storyline of this whole game is butts in seats. We as the conference need to pack out a stadium in Ireland. We need to go to Dublin and prove that this league can travel across the world to watch college football. The Farmageddon is an established rivalry in the Big 12. Both coaches talked at length about that at Big 12 Media Days. And moreover, when it comes to gameplay, I really do believe that the school that loses game 1, week 0, overseas has taken themselves out of the Big 12 championship race. And that may be a crazy statement to some, but you think about the wear and tear of going overseas, the pomp and circumstance of the last year and a half of making it happen, and the coaches going, well, we hate losing a game, a rivalry game in proximity of both schools, and then you go lose that first one, considering yourself a conference contender, to be able to rebound from that, go into non-conference play, have a successful non-conference, forget it, and go again 10-2 or 11-1, which is what it may take to go to the Big 12 title in this conference. That it's a big setback that both these teams are taking a very admirable risk to do in Dublin.
Right. Well, as if the Locked On Big 12 wasn't keeping you busy enough, then jet setting around to Utah and jet skiing with Cosmo. You are also part of one of, if not the biggest, traveling show in sports and entertainment with the Savannah Bananas.
So that's where the perm comes from. Actually, that's where it's not the natural hair. The ladies keep asking. It is not. But it's something, man. I was hired 2 years ago to be the Party Animals broadcast entertainer, front office with the Bananas. I do broadcast.
The Party Animals are like the Washington Generals facing the Globetrotters, right?
Craziest part, though. The Party Animals are 32-18 this season. The Bananas are 25-23.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So what it creates is, if you go to Savannah Bananas game, you go to 3. You've been to 3 and you've never seen them win. I mean, you bought a lottery ticket that the Generals beat the Globetrotters, right? And so the competition that's been created here, we've added 2 new teams, the Texas Tailgaters and the Firefighters. And now with 4, we just saw in Richmond, Virginia, the Tailgaters and the Firefighters sell out 18,000 people.
Crazy.
2 teams that most people in the country haven't heard of yet, right? And because they're associated with the Bananas and Banana Ball, they're seeing exponential growth. The Party Animals have their own 15-game headline, 22-game now headline tour this year. 200,000 tickets have been sold just to see the Party Animals sans the Savannah Bananas. So I think that's where you see the growth and kind of the separation of what the Globetrotters did. And man, from Fenway, signing the Green Monster at Fenway, to 81,000, watching Dabo Swinney run down the hill with the Savannah Bananas, right? To even the over 200 cities and venues that have reached out about Banana Ball next year. Some of the biggest venues in the world, some of the smallest venues in the world.
They have captured something. For sure.
They've done, it's incredible. Yeah. And you walk in as a 7-year-old or a 77-year-old, and there's something magical about it. You get this 3-hour show where you go, wow. That's something that sports at the highest level is missing. It feels a lot like a BYU Saturday. It feels a lot like a game day in Provo. It's just got this wholesome feel to it. It's like you walked away from the greatest wedding you've ever been to. That's usually how I feel after a BYU game.
Which also happens a lot here in Provo.
They do. A lot of weddings. A lot of weddings.
Well, we know you're super busy, a lot going on. We appreciate you carving out a few minutes to join us. Drake, it was awesome. It's the first time I had a chance to meet you, so it was nice to meet you, but appreciate you joining the show today.
Yeah, always. I came here for that Baylor-BYU game in 22, that missed field goal game, back and forth, and fell in love with everything about this place, and just an honor to always be back.
Well, we appreciate it, and for those that want to follow you, where can they follow you?
Yeah, at Locked On Big 12 on Twitter, at Drake C. Toll if you like the worst tweets, and then at Drake C. Toll on any other platforms.
Right. There we go. Appreciate it. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12.
Look forward to seeing you back here this fall.
Oh, that holy war, you know where I'll be.